Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 27th SF Indie Fest. We're so excited to be joined here today with the filmmakers from the Bay Area Tales Shorts. The festival will be happening January 6th through 18th at the Historic Roxy Theater, as well as virtually in all of our audience's homes. So thank you all so much for joining us. We're joined here by a block of films from, Bay Area creative or Bay Area leaning folks, and we're so excited to have you all here. I'm Sarah Marie Flores. I program the shorts, and I'm so happy to introduce our filmmakers. I would love to start off by just having you go around and tell us your name and the film you're here with and what inspired you to tell this story. And we're going to kick it off with Anthony. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, how's it going?
It's it's happening.
Yeah, I'm in LA too, so yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm Anthony Thimeleis. I'm with the film Ocean Man, and what kind of drove me to want to make this film is just I've been skateboarding my whole entire life, and I've always wanted to make a film about skateboarding without it coming off very like cheesy and like kind of corny. So I just kind of wanted to emulate the feeling of what skateboarding has meant to me and like what how the escape and how it just meant so much to me and try to portray that in a film.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hi, Alex. Welcome. And if you could also say what your role was on the film. I think Alex, you directed Ocean Man, correct?
No,
Or no, I'm sorry.
I
I was looking at Anthony. My brain is still waking up. Anthony, you directed Ocean Man, correct?
Yeah, directed it, yeah.
Cool. Hi, Alex. Back to you.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Alex Maloney. I'm with Holding On Forever, which I was the producer of. And the film was really inspired by the director Chelsea's experience during a sober January going out to karaoke and sort of it not being the experience that she remembered from previous months. And yeah, just kind of I think the alienation of that moment.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
Hi, Tom. Welcome.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks so much for having us. I'm Tom Glinkowski. I'm the director of Draft Night. And Draft Night is actually something that came about when I attended a monologue competition in New York, and I saw the writer Sean delivering this monologue that you will have seen three-quarters of the way through the film. And the monologue just really like, kind of stuck with me. I saw kind of what it could be visually, and I reached out to him and was like, "Hey, like crazy idea. You want to build a film?" And so we kind of delved into the world of this character and kind of tried to flesh out like what it might look like, and that ultimately resulted in the short.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, Sarah, am I saying it right? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, I'm Sarah Bimji. I'm the writer and director of Fair Trade, and I'm based in Berkeley and lived in San Francisco before, right around the corner from the Roxy. So I love the Roxy, and I actually made this film for like an oddly technical reason. Like I got assigned to teach a virtual production class, and I got involved in this like virtual production program at Diablo Valley College in the Bay Area. And I didn't know if it was like a gimmick, basically. I was like, this virtual production thing, what is this? Is it too good to be true? And I tried to like integrate that into my story about like false promises, because I think technology often gives us like, you can buy this and it's going to change your life and it's going to be amazing, and then it's not true. So I tried to put that into the story.
That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Hi, Janet. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us. So I'm Janet Chen. I'm the producer of the film, so to speak, and our director is Celine Padrinias Shimizu. Just to also say that I'm also in Los Angeles, and just sending love to all my fellow Angelinos.
Yes, let me give context for our audience because
Yeah.
they're going to see this in the future. Audience, in the future, just so you know, it is January 11th. And so for those of us who are in LA, we've just come off of 4 of the worst days possible with our city on fire. So we might all seem just a little bedraggled right now. But Janet, thank you so much for joining us and excited to hear about this film.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the film is definitely the vision of our director Celine Paredes Shimizu, and it was based on her epic poem that she wrote when she was at Berkeley. And the poem won the highest arts award possible, and it just stuck in her head for decades. And she decided to turn it into I think the poem, when I read it, it was very obvious it was meant for visual storytelling. So she decided to turn it into a short. And it's really about a combination of experiences from Asian American women that she experienced, and also her friends and fellow peers experienced as an Asian American woman kind of coming of age during the college years. So and also there's some and also how Asian American studies influences that experience. So.
That's so awesome. And I know Celine is actually, she works at UC Santa Cruz, which is my undergraduate alma mater. And I know when I saw that film, I was like, oh my gosh, that's like the core of so many of the great teachings that we experienced there. So I love seeing it digested in cinema. It's really fun.
Fellow slug. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for being here. Yeah.
That's Sammy.
I'm a slug too.
Yeah, slugs forever. Cool. And next we have the team here with Reward If Found. And I'm sorry, I'm going to try and say your name properly. And please, I apologize. It's Saadi. Close?
Yeah, Saadi Holov, yeah. I was like trying to type it as fast as I can. So.
Yeah, you're like, how do you do it? Yes, welcome. Please tell us what your role is on the film and what made you want to be involved with it.
Yeah, there's 2 of us for the film. So my name's Saadi Holov, and I was the director and producer of the film.
And I'm Jenny Scherer. I was the producer and actress.
Great. Saadi, we'd love to hear from you. Like, what was the genesis of this? What made you want to tell this story?
Yeah, Jenny and I worked on a film previously together, and I kind of pitched her being like, "Hey, I'm down to do this again. Let's make."
It was a Bay Area
together.
story,
yes,
and we came to SF Indie Fest. It was great.
Yes. So we kind of were just like brainstorming a film together, and we kind of landed this idea, like we knew we wanted to tell kind of like an anti-hero woman's tale, and that was kind of like the anchor of it. But yeah, Jenny, do you want to add in too?
Yeah, we just love the concept of women behaving badly and this downward spiral and self-sabotage that you can get yourself into, particularly when having trouble detaching from a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Just have the humor in that as well.
Yeah, so our film is a hybrid live action animated film, and it's about a woman who basically
our lovely audience has already gotten to see the film. So love seeing that kind of combination of the different mediums. I think you also do work with Pixar, so it must have been fun to kind of work around that as well, like mixing media.
Yeah, that was kind of like one of the biggest things visually. I was like so like excited about this project where it was like mixing mediums and having 2D animation with live action, also having it on top of the live action frames as well.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Let's jump back over to Anthony. Anthony, your film is really beautiful. Like, I love the way that you use the lens to kind of highlight this sense of isolation, but you're always kind of in a sense of motion because you're like working within like the skateboarding world, and you kind of, I think, encapsulate a lot of like what we think about like classic skate video style within this, but in like a very elevated way. Can you talk about kind of your visual approach to this storytelling?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, so I kind of wanted, like when you see the skateboarding and everything like that, when you see it from his perspective, it's kind of like he's watching this very awe sensation because he just wants to be part of that. And especially in the beginning when, you know, it's kind of like he's on the outside looking in, he's just like marveling and everything like that. So I just kind of wanted to always have like that kind of feeling, and also just kind of like, you know, the grittiness of skateboarding and everything like that. And I also just wanted to show like outside of the skate park and like, you know, what actually like skateboarding is. Cause like the type of skateboarding I've done my whole life is like street skating, where you go to all these random spots in the city, like where people, you know, you wouldn't look at these types of architecture in a different way unless you skateboarded, like especially like where they skate, it's just like this slanted wall that's like made out of brick, and it's like, to anyone else it's just a whatever, and then to skateboard is like a gold mine. So I kind of wanted to just highlight that of just how people look at the world differently from skating.
Awesome. Well, it turned out really cool. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Nice words.
Um, Alex, I would love to talk to you just about like the world that you captured in the film. And if you could talk a little bit about the locations, because for some of us Bay Area folks, they might look a little familiar. But I think that, you know, just hearing from you before, talking about what it feels like to kind of like change the balance of the way you experience a space is really fun within that film. So can you talk about like shooting in Japantown and what that was like, and kind of how you guys achieved these like very striking visuals of the locations?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was like buy-in from the community in Japantown, who was very open and welcoming to having us film. The karaoke bar is called Festa, and so that's actually where Chelsea had this experience years ago. And so when she
Uh,
brought up the idea of like doing the film, we were discussing, we're both in LA now, but we met in the Bay Area, and it seemed like why not just do it there, because that's where it happened. And I think it was also a boon, because I'm sure anyone here knows trying to get locations in LA, especially for like little indie projects, can be very difficult. But in other places, they're really welcoming of someone coming in and trying to do some filmmaking. So, yeah, we're excited. The night of the screening, we are going to do an after party at Festa, which is going to be great. Everyone from this team, feel free to come out. We'll sing some karaoke. Everyone on the internet, come too. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. But filming in the Japantown Mall was really great, and it's always wonderful when you can like really work with a community to come together and make something beautiful. So um, props to everyone at the Japantown Mall.
Woohoo! Love seeing it. Thank you so much. Tom, I would really love to talk about the psychological approach to your storytelling in Draft Night. I think you do a really good job of having both this like external and then interior kind of perspective. And I was hoping you could talk a little bit about that approach.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's so hard to kind of like tell that story sometimes, like of someone's inner perspective without, you know, leaning towards voiceover or towards like some kind of trick like that. And so, you know, in our film, we chose to break the fourth wall. And you know, we looked at like House of Cards and Fleabag and different shows like that to see how they executed that, or to kind of like let a character's inner thoughts out, because inherently like our main protagonist, like he should be unlikable, right? Like he or at least on like on the outside looking in, like he seems unlikable, and the way it's like really get to know what's going on and how the anxiety is getting to him and how tortured he is to be on his inside thoughts. So me and Kenzen Takahashi, the DP, we kind of went through and were very rigidly storyboarded the way that we were going to handle when we are external versus when we are internal with him, and kind of kept to that. And I think it I feel like really helped communicate what number one was feeling throughout.
That's awesome. It's such a beautiful approach, and I think you really nailed it in your execution. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Sarah, I would love to talk to you more about this kind of gonzo digital filmmaking that you're accessing. And I'll just preface this with this, right? Like when you think about filmmaking, it really does take a village, and it takes a lot of resources. And for those of you that are actually shooting within the Bay Area, it's so much more, right? Like it's such a beautiful but challenging landscape to make art in. So can you just talk a little bit more, like, you know, in the introduction, you talked about kind of doing this like digital film um, kind of class that you were involved in, but like, how did you take this a step forward within fair trade? Because I think that you really kind of like nailed this like gonzo approach. So like, I think what like real estate is and like the house situation is within the Bay Area, and you just kind of did it in such a cool, fresh feeling way.
Thanks. I mean, yeah, having lived in the Bay Area a long time, like housing is crazy. I'm sure around California it is as well. And I sort of combine my sort of like that feeling of like people like going to, they've rented a house and like someone else has rented that house or whatever. You know, there's just so many crazy stories in the Bay Area, and also just like in my community and in, you know, homelessness is just such a massive problem, and we need more housing, and people are sort of scamming each other. So that all came into it. And then the technology side, it's definitely crazy to do this with no budget at all. Like my budget was very close to zero, and trying to make it work with this mindset of like experimenting and failing multiple times on multiple shoots. Like I still haven't mastered the technology, but the concept is like you can build a world that in what's called a game engine, like where they make video games. I'm not like an expert on this. There's things like called Unreal Engine. That's the one we used. But you can build a world, and then you can put your human actors in it. And so I wanted to like explore, oh, I can build anything, just like in houses, you can like sell anything. So we sort of like built this world and then destroyed it. But the real challenge is things like making sure when your physical real camera is moving, that it's connected to a matching digital camera in this video game world that's also moving at the same time with the same perspective and the same distance, and like getting those elements correct was very hard. We had to like reshoot 3 times and it still didn't work exactly how we wanted, but that's why I feel like it not working kind of went with the film, because this feels, when people say, oh, 1, 2, 3, just like there's all these YouTube tutorials that are like 10 steps to get your virtual world working, and it never works. So that's how I feel about it.
That's really cool. I mean, just the tirade, right? Like filmmaking feels very inaccessible for so many, especially when you want to tell more expanded worlds. And so like the more that we can lean into this technology, the more that those that don't have like a Warner Brothers budget can access filmmaking and like tell bigger worlds and bigger stories.
Yes,
and so I
but
think
is
you
that
use
a
it in
false
such a cool way.
promise? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I want. That's like what I want. I want to be able to access Hollywood world with indie filmmaker budgets.
Yeah.
But I still feel like we're being told, hey, anybody can do it. Get your phone, get these free game software. But like it's a lot harder, more expensive, and you always need another piece of equipment. And so I feel like there's a bit of a false promise there. I want that to be true.
I think it's still a work in progress, but
Yeah.
you're making great headway. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
Janet, I would love to hear more from you just about what this production was like. It feels like, you know, your director Celine utilized so many great resources. The cast was so beautiful and felt really authentic. Like, what was that for you, like for you as a producer, helping to kind of herald these elements to make such an impactful piece of cinema?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's oh, and just to note that our director Celine is feeling sick, so that's why she's not here. But I would encourage people to go to the live screening that's
Yes.
happening. So
Yes.
yes, please come.
We
And
can't wait to meet Celine and tell her that we're so sad that she couldn't join us.
and all the other filmmakers as well. So hope to see folks at the live screening on February 7th, right? So yes, the production was really unique. I mean, I think to kind of on my own productions and also for Celine, we always try and prioritize authenticity and cast and crew as much as possible. So for this one, with the resources that we had at UC Santa Cruz, and our desire to really turn this into not just a regular production, but also kind of a training ground for the students that are at Santa Cruz. So we had undergrads and graduate students on the cast and the crew. So some of the folks that you see in front of the camera, they were undergrad students telling this very college story. And we also had the students mentored by professional filmmakers that we hired. So they were able to do that field training. Some of the students were, they did swing, they did assistant camera, they were running around with me, gathering things. And so, yeah, I think it was a really good opportunity for them. And I think they were able to really see and be part of an actual professional production. And they were really, I think, appreciative. And we also really just loved having them. That kind of multi-generational learning and having that perspective was really important. And it was I think the film itself is such a visual film that also being around Santa Cruz and having that setting was also really important, because I think a couple of you went to school there, so you know that it's such a unique and beautiful area, the environment, and I don't think you can replicate that. So shooting on location in Santa Cruz was really important, and also just big thanks to everyone at the school who helped us to be able to shoot on location.
Yeah, probably a good shout out to Woody Carroll, who
Woody. Oh, he was there when you were there.
The equipment
He's
locker.
my fave. Yes,
He's
yes,
the best.
Woody.
I worked for him during undergrad.
Nice.
You guys did such a beautiful job, and I can't wait to talk to Celine more about it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, Jenny, I'd love to start with you. Can you just talk about being a performer and getting to play such an unhinged character? Like, was there a sense of like freedom in that? Did it give you anxiety? Like, how did you get into that headspace? Are you really that for now? I don't think you're really that person.
I am Liza. No. Yeah, it was really fun. I think I think you always access as an actor like parts of yourself, and I think I went back to some of my like youth before you have that emotional maturity to let go of things, and even just like kind of like almost the pettiness within it all. So yeah, it was really fun to dive into her. It was interesting as well because I was the like lead producer on the project, so wearing the numerous hats where it's like there's fires going on and I'm handling one side. So it was interesting to try to balance and like be able to stay in character, but then also have to like step away and like deal with stuff and then step back in. But I had such a supportive team with me that it really kind of made it effortless in a lot of ways. So yeah.
It's so awesome. Thank you so much. Saadi, I would love to talk to you just about your approach to the actual filmmaking. Specifically, how like did you already have a plan going into it about how you wanted to meld animation with the live action, or was it kind of a more like see what you got and then expand upon it from there situation?
Yeah, I think like the first thing, just because I come from the world of animation and I knew that I think our first goal was to just kind of figure out what we wanted the animation to do for the story, because I'm someone who like, like I love animation, but like sometimes I feel like animation is just used, but not really kind of like utilized for the story. So for us, it's just like, what is the animation for? What is the show? And I think that like the idea was just like it kind of helped with like the tone that we wanted for the film. Like we knew we wanted something a little like kind of again going back to unhinged, but like it's also like a comedy. And I think there was something about the animation that really made some of the dark moments feel a little more comedic. And I also told myself that like I really wanted to follow the style of the animator who's making it. So Jen, who was our animator, we really loved her short films, and she played in so many film festivals like Sundance and like Annecy. And like, I think for us, it was just like, we love your style. Now let's just work together on the storyboards to make the story happen. So we spent a lot of times on the storyboards. Once we actually got the live action footage, that's when we really started to be like more specific about like how many animation scenes do we need versus like sprinkles. And we kind of use the word sprinkles because as you've seen in the film, or I know that people have seen the film already, but the people here are fellow filmmakers when they do watch it. You'll see that there's like a lot animation on top of live action. We call that animation sprinkles internally. It's just trying to figure out like how can we like use the animation sprinkles to kind of help tell the story forward. It ended up being a lot of fun, and I think like also like for our animator, she ironically was going through a breakup while animating. So she was like, I have a lot of feelings right now. So I think that like for her, even there was something therapeutic about animating and finishing the film. What was really unique about this film too is that we had a really long post-production schedule, and us trying to kind of like all of the different departments working on top of each other. So we knew that we want to make sure our film was colored first before we had the animation sprinkles on top, just to kind of see what it looked like. We also knew that we needed the animation sprinkles to be there first before we finalize sound design, because there's something about the animation sprinkles that add a little more texture to the film and the sound of it too. Sorry, you'll see like a cat crawling between the scene, but I'm still here, don't worry. But yeah, that was kind of like mainly like some of the processes that we went through to making the film.
Well, it's so cool. Thank you so much for expanding upon that.
Yeah.
Uh, well, friends, that's all the time we have today for our Q&A and the virtual style. But to our audience that's in the Bay Area, please come out and watch all the live programs and meet as many as our filmmakers that can join us in person. Thank you all so much for taking the time, and please stay safe. And thank you to our audience. Please give us all of your money and support all of the art.